Chapter 3. Now we left off at the end of chapter 2 where the Lord, he's just had enough. And he's going to the top of the chain and he's going right against the priest. And look, if the priests are corrupt, how do you think that the people and businesses and markets are? And that's the reason why they're representative of the whole people. And they are just totally corrupt by this point. And the Lord's just tired of it. But do remember the question where we left off. They said, well, where is the God of judgment? Why am I not being judged? If what I'm doing is evil, why is God allowing me to live in peace? I'm living in peace, so everything must be okay. Well, then we come immediately to this. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And the Lord, whom ye seek, shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant, whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith the Lord of hosts. Now, there's a couple of different things to point out. He says, I'll send my messenger before me, but my messenger, unironically, I believe, is the meaning of Malachi. The very name itself is messenger, my messenger, with a play on the same name of the prophet. These words had their first, if not their perfect fulfillment in John the Baptist. But we also see how the Lord shall come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant. So the Lord is this other messenger, and whom's going to be sent right after this initial one, but he's called the messenger of the covenant. Messenger of the covenant, namely of the ancient covenant with Israel of old, the promises of old, and Abraham. Not just Israel, but Abraham himself, in which the promise to the Gentiles is ultimately included. All the manifestations of God in the Old Testament, all the manifestations were made in the person of the divine Son, the pre-incarnate Christ. He was the messenger of the Old Covenant as well as of the New. He was the one upon Mount Moriah and whom spoke to Abraham, told him not to harm his son. He says, Abraham, Abraham. He was the angel in the burning bush that spoke to Moses. He's the one in whom spoke to Joshua before he went on his campaign of the old covenant. He's the one that spoke to them of old. Now we see him of the new. But who may abide the day of his coming, and who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like fuller's soap, and he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. And he shall purify the sons of Levi, and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto the Lord an offering in righteousness. So we see the complaints that the Lord has against the Levitical descendants in the previous 2 chapters of Malachi. Now we're seeing, okay, then this messenger of the covenant, the Messiah himself, will purify those descendants, and they'll begin in righteousness, which will be more ultimately fulfilled at his second coming, the setting up of the millennial kingdom, which is to come in these last days. Verse 4, Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto the Lord, as in the days of old, as in the former years, primarily pointing back to the days of David. But I believe that this is primarily pointing towards the sacrifices which will be reinstated in the book of Ezekiel. It's mentioned this about how in the millennial reign, how the earthly Jews will actually be partaking again, and all things will be set right before we enter into the eternal New Jerusalem. And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the adulterers, and against false swearers, and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow, and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, saith the Lord of hosts. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Even from the days of your fathers ye are gone away from mine ordinances, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith the Lord of hosts. But ye said, Wherein shall we return? We've never left. They're still doing this. This is basically like the Lord in the Old Testament addressing the Pharisees, which Christ would just rage against constantly. But these priests are asking, well, what have we done? Where are we going to return? How have we offended you, Lord? Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, Wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. Ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. He says, I'll bless you as long as you just do these things. You all are corrupt totally. And I will rebuke the devourer, the locust, for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground. Neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, saith the Lord of hosts. And all nations shall call you blessed, for ye shall be a delightsome land, saith the Lord of hosts. Your words have been stout against me, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, what have we spoken so much against thee? Ye have said, it is vain to serve God. And what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before the Lord of hosts? What do we profit by serving God? Cambridge commented, it is the same tendency to regard mere outward observance as true religion, which earlier prophets had denounced, and which culminated in the Phariseeism of New Testament times. You see, they thought within themselves, we're doing all the things that we're told. We're going through all these rituals. We're checking off all the boxes, and yet we're not being blessed. Why? We have no peace. Our families are falling apart. Everything's still not going well. But they were corrupt in their own heart. This is the Pharisees of old. We read about these Pharisees. Just listen to this same heart of outward appearance and the contrast that it has to true worship of God. Just listen to this. The same attitude was at the time of Christ. Then led they Jesus from Caiaphas unto the hall of judgment. Whenever they have him in chains and they're leading him to through his trials, they take him into the hall of judgment, and it was early, and they themselves went not into the judgment hall. They didn't go into the judgment hall, lest they should be defiled. Ain't that something? They didn't even want to step in the ground of the Gentiles, because they'd be defiled. Yet they were leading the most holy being in all existence to be killed. This shows the heart of them. But that they might eat the Passover. Here they were sacrificing the lamb in whom the Passover was representing. And yet they kept this outward thing, but were destroying the true fellowship with God. And now we call the proud happy. Yea, they that work wickedness are set up. They're doing well, the wicked are prospering. Yea, they that tempt God are even delivered. Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another. And the Lord hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord, and that thought upon his name. This is only for those in whom love God. Are you written in the book of remembrance? The Lord keeps a book of remembrance. Now, I personally believe that this is more revealed in the book of Revelation to be the Lamb's book of life, those found within the body of Christ. And they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts. In that day will I make up my jewels. This is very lovely. In that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them, as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. Then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth God and him that serveth him not. Notice once again how the Lord is saying, when I make up my jewels in that day, likening us to his jewels. This is very, very lovely. Or treasure. Unique, peculiar treasure, that which I highly value and keep most safely.